In this video you are going to learn what is apple cider vinegar, how it's produced, and why it's so damn popular. We can consider apple cider vinegar the king of natural remedy. In the last decade, vinegar has got the interest of millions for its purported health benefits. People consider this liquid almost a miracle of Mother Nature. Well, we will talk later about the mother, vinegar's mother from Mother Nature. Woohoo! Apple cider vinegar, or just apple vinegar, is created thanks to a biological process called fermentation. What is fermented? Natural sugars present in apple or rice or grapes or many other raw ingredients. In this first step, sugars are fermented into alcohol by some yeast. In a second step, this alcohol is fermented into acetic acid by acidic bacteria. Acetic acid, by the way, is the main active ingredient in vinegar and the one that produces the majority of medicinal effects. Easy, right? You first crush the apples, introduce some yeast and then some bacteria. Voila, you have apple cider vinegar. Have you heard about the mother? What is the mother? The mother is a mixture of proteins, bacteria and enzymes which gives vinegar that muddy aspect and which purportedly is the responsible of vinegar benefits. But there's not much scientific evidence of this. What's the difference between apple cider vinegar and apple vinegar? To produce vinegar, and I refer to any kind of vinegar, you need a multi-step fermentation process. When the raw ingredient contains sugars, as in apple or grapes, we need a two-step fermentation process. First, yeast transforms sugar into alcohol, and then bacteria transform alcohol into vinegar. When the raw ingredient is mainly starch, we need a three-step fermentation process, because first we have to transform starch into sugar and later do the other two steps. When we talk about apple cider vinegar, we need just two different fermentations. First, you transform apple sugars into alcohol, yeast do the work here, and then alcohol turns into vinegar, and here bacteria do the business. When all sugars have been converted into alcohol, we have apple cider, which is, we could say, similar to apple wine. Yeasts produce as well beer, rum, wine and many other spiritual drinks. Now you see how important yeasts are in general in life. When we have cider, an alcoholic drink, we add acidic bacteria as Acetobacter aceti, which is part of the popular mother, and this Acetobacter is a drunkard bacteria. She likes alcohol even more than you and transforms it into acetic acid. And now we have vinegar. Thus, apple cider vinegar and apple vinegar are one and the same thing. La misma cosa. The former makes reference to the raw ingredient, apple, and the latter to cider, produced after the first fermentation. What are the benefits of apple cider vinegar and what is meant by apple cider vinegar? This is a fairly common question when we talk about apple cider vinegar. The wellness and health halo surrounding this product makes many consumers believe that it can cure many diseases and medical conditions. Forget about it. Apple vinegar has been studied as a complement or supplement useful in many conditions, but all by itself it's not a cure of virtually anything. Anyway, in this video, I will explain to you in my poor English what is meant by apple cider vinegar and what are the benefits. Anti-diabetic effects. If we review the medical literature, we can see that vinegar works well improving blood sugar. Why? Several reasons here. First, it improves insulin sensitivity and diminishes postprandial hyperglycemia, especially when you take it with a high-carb food. It makes it easier for your cells to introduce glucose inside them thanks to insulin. And what happens when glucose is inside your cells? Well, that it won't be in your blood, increasing your blood sugar. Easy peasy, right? Secondly, it partially inhibits carbohydrate absorption. This is one of the reasons it can decrease blood sugar. As we will see, this can be good for many, but not so good to a few. Antibacterial effect. It's no coincidence that vinegar has been used for centuries as a disinfectant and sterilizer agent, and in the treatment of ear or fungi infections. Hippocrates, one of the fathers of medicine, used vinegar to clean wounds and disinfect them. In this study, for example, antibacterial apple cider vinegar eradicates methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus and resistant Escherichia coli, which well are two bad-will bacteria. For this reason, vinegar is an acceptable food preservative and is inside some canned foods, like pickles. Do you like pickles? I do. Lipid lowering agent. Could vinegar improve your lipids panel? The answer is yes. At least in animal studies, it can decrease cholesterol, triglycerides, and arterial pressure. Many people use vinegar as an aid to weight loss, with good but not miraculous results. This is because it has some appetite suppressive effects, and having less appetite equals eating fewer calories and having more success in our effort to reduce fat percentage. Antioxidant effects. Some studies point to a high antioxidant potential of apple cider vinegar. This study, for example, suggests that the addition of apple cider vinegar as a food additive in the daily diet may reduce the threat of multiple neurodegenerative diseases. Muscle cramps. Acetic acid can prevent or relieve exercise-associated muscle cramps, often experienced during practice, training, or competition. It mitigates cramping by decreasing alpha motor neuron activity through oropharyngeal stimulation and inhibition of neurotransmitter production, while aiding in the role acetylcholine plays in muscle contraction and relaxation. That's the reason some distance runners take pickle juice after working out or while working out. You didn't know it, didn't you? What are the side effects of drinking apple cider vinegar? And can I drink apple cider vinegar every day? When a substance, supplement, or drug gets popular, some visionaries immediately start using it the wrong way. That is exactly what happens with apple cider vinegar. So sad. Vinegar is an acid. Yes, it is classified as a weak acid, but an acid essentially. Acetic acid is responsible for this acid character of vinegar. Now pay attention to your Hispanic dog because I'm about explaining you 7 adverse effects of too much vinegar. It slows your gastric emptying and bowel movement. For most users, this can be beneficial indeed because it makes carbohydrate absorption slower and decreases blood sugar after eating your favorite carbs. This is the same effect that protein or soluble fiber achieves, but some people already have a slower than average gastric emptying due to either disease or natural physiology. You can see this in gastroparesis, a condition that happens in diabetic patients normally, in which stomach nerves do not work correctly and food remains too long in it. Results: gastroesophageal reflux, abdominal discomfort, and bloating, and even vomiting. If you feel that vinegar produces some of those symptoms, maybe you should abandon it or reduce the dose. Abdominal discomfort due to carbohydrate malabsorption. Again, this can be beneficial for many, but negative for a few. Malabsorption of carbohydrates generates more bacteria fermentation, which can produce abdominal pain, bloating, or gas. Enamel erosion and injury. Due to its acid condition, vinegar can endanger tooth enamel. Saliva helps buffer vinegar acidity, but is recommended to do a mouth rinse after ingesting vinegar. Some visionaries have used huge amounts of vinegar through years and without dissolving it in water, and guess the result: tooth and enamel decay. Esophageal burns. Huge amounts of vinegar can act as a caustic substance. If you are not a visionary and have some common sense, you won't take a full glass of undissolved vinegar, but just in case. Skin irritation. Apple cider vinegar has been widely used for improving acne symptoms, but applying large quantities of vinegar on the skin for too long can produce skin problems. In this study, apple cider vinegar soaks had no significant effect on skin barrier integrity, but caused skin irritation in most subjects. Drugs interactions. It can facilitate hypoglycemia or low sugar levels, especially when we have other treatments as insulin or anti-diabetic medications. Digoxin, for example, can make potassium levels go down when taken with vinegar. The same happens with pomegranate and other foodstuffs. Common sense is not so common, but to minimize adverse effects risk, you can follow those easy tips, which are basically common sense. Limit your vinegar intake to 30 milliliters daily. Do not exceed this. This equals 2 spoons. Do not drink more than 2 spoons of vinegar daily. Dissolve vinegar in water. Do not take it directly. If you use a straw, tooth exposure will diminish, and this is good for your teeth. Rinse your mouth after taking it to avoid enamel injury. And if you feel abdominal pain or discomfort or other symptoms after taking vinegar, better reduce the dose or avoid it altogether. How do you use apple cider vinegar for weight loss? Apple cider vinegar has only 3 calories per spoon, but this is not the reason it's so popular as a weight loss remedy. The main mechanism why it helps you with weight loss is increasing feelings of fullness, which happens thanks to acetic acid again. This is called having an anorexigenic effect. But be cautious, my friend, because vinegar in excess can be dangerous, as I explained. You can take it as a salad dressing or before a high-carb meal dissolved in water. Limit this intake to 15 to 30 millimeters and do not take more. Some people take apple cider vinegar while doing an intermittent fasting protocol because it helps with hunger in those fasting hours. And some others use it with lemon because they say alkalinize your body. Well, I prefer not to comment on this. And what's science verdict? Are there any studies assessing the benefits of apple cider vinegar? Well, we have some of them, but the results are far from spectacular. If you are looking for the magic pill, you won't find it in vinegar or in any other one-sided element. Thanks for watching. Now you know a little more about apple cider vinegar. See you soon and don't forget to subscribe. No olvides suscribirte al canal, amigo.